June 1963, the Stones were on Thank You Lucky Stars, old TV pop program, doing Come On. And that was 50 years ago. And, you know, I never looked back, really. I joined their fan club when I was 9, and I saw them when I was 13 or 14. 13, at the Enemy Polanders concert. Hendrix had pulled out, but they got the Stones in. And I just thought, I liked Keith before he became the Keith that everyone goes on about, you know, the late 60s one. And, you know, yeah, I'm a self-confessed Stones nut. And I always wanted to interview him, you know, everyone's got a list of people they want to do. And I did all of them apart from a couple. And Keith took like 2 years of getting together, but I finally got to do him in 1980. And yeah, that kicked off a little relationship that went on for the next few years, because he invited me up to the Savoy. Come over for a drink. You know, and it would last 2 days.
Really about the photograph of you and him, and like, you look more like Keith Richards than me.
Yeah. Well, he said that himself too. No, I mean, he's just very, you know, I don't know, I mean, you're sitting there, and the worst bit was ringing up to his room at this hotel in South Kensington, you know, because I've been nervous as hell about this interview in 1980, and I called up, you know, to the room, hello, you know, and he came down. But he just walked up and said, right, first of all, we've got to find the car. Because we had to drive to the Stones office to do the interview. He'd been out the night before and he just didn't know where it was. So I'm just walking around these streets with Keith, and he's going, oh no, it's round here somewhere. And finally we found his blue Lena, you know, the Mercedes. And it was up at this weird angle against a tree, or, you know, some square, leafy kind of. And we got in the car, and we only had to drive like up the embankment, kind of. But he did it at 100 miles an hour from a standing start. We got in the car, and then he overshot the turning. And this is in rush hour, in this big blue Merc. Oh, I've gone the wrong way. And he just U-turned without looking. He didn't look, but he was getting beeped and honked. And he just doing this regal wave while he scooted around at 100, tyre shredding, screeching. And then he pulled up outside the Stones office, nearly went through their front door. And we walked in, and he went, and the receptionist went, oh, hello, Keith. Jack Daniels? And I thought she was going to give him like a glass. You know, gave it a bottle, you know. But I always remember he smoked my cigarettes, because I had like 20 Marlboros, and I stuck them there, and he was sitting there. And he didn't have his own. He was just helping himself to mine. But he was passing the JD and various other Keith-related
paraphernalia,
refreshments. And it was great. It went on for 3 hours, and he liked the feature, and 2 years later I did another one, and then he called up one day and said, do you want to come over for a drink? Well, one night, about 10. And I got the bus to the Savoy. And I was there for about 2 days that time. I mean, these things were great. He got his guitar up, he sang Wild Horses, you know, played me his musical tapes. Lovely man. I mean, I saw him about last decade, about 6, 7 years ago. But he remembers everything. You know.
What do you think of acid house?
He's not very good on that. No, he wasn't that big on punk, because he always thought of himself as the original one, which he was, really. You know, he was like, we piss anywhere, man. You know, he was laying into authority before punk, which was funny when punk came along. You know, but they're all mates later anyway.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think a lot of it was just everything is interrelated.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I hope Keith's all right now. You know.
Well, that's all right. I saw him on TV in the summer and he looked fine. Looked like he was having a good time.
Yeah. If I'm like that when I'm 72, I think I'll be quite happy.
Yeah, me too.
It's insane, isn't it, when you think about that? You know what I mean? It's like how bands that have actually stood the test of time, you know what I mean? It's like, you know the Beatles, you know what I mean? Like, those are,
Yeah, I mean, I watched Glastonbury and I watched the Stones on at Glastonbury and I watched the Twitter feed and stuff on Facebook, and it surprised me that people were so down on them because I'm like, fucking hell, it's a guy who's like this bunch of guys whose combined age is like 8,000, and people were taking pot shots. And it was a bit like, you know.
twice that, because you wait twice as long as everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Done twice as many drugs as Glastonbury, the whole Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And survived.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go.
And performed.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's why I don't take a lot of bands seriously, you know, because, you know, they make a big deal. Ooh, you know, we had a late night last night. You know, the Keith's idea of a late night went on for about a month, you know. It is, and stuff that you couldn't comprehend, you know, which, you know, I don't go on about it. I mean, but I like to think it's carried on in the tradition of certain, you know, establishments and things today, you know.
Everything punk was against, wasn't it? It was like, you know, like fucking old bands, old rock bands hanging about and stuff. And it was like, you know, and I was the same, and I guess you were as well at the time. It's like, you know, you think everyone should hang the boots up or be dead, you know. But
When they're 22.
But like as time goes on, you start to realise, you know, it's what you do. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, if you do it good, you know, you're just going to carry on doing it. And that's what they do, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just think you carry on and you have to keep it alive and make it sparkle for yourself, because then it will show through. You know.
Well, that's what I get about you. I mean, you know, we've known each other 20 years or so now, and you know, life has its knocks and stuff. But
Yeah, you're telling me.
yeah,
I mean, but I mean, I've been in some unbelievable situations, and last year was one of the worst I've ever had in my life. And like I said earlier, you know, this year was shaken. This year's been great because I've moved to Cornwall.
yeah, Cornwall, man. So you
No, I mean, it's too long a story.
yeah, well, I know it's a long story, but you've ended up in Cornwall. You know, we were talking about the light earlier on in St Ives.
Animal noises, isn't it?
Oh, is it animal noises? No, we were talking about the light. Dave, we were talking something slightly more cultured than animal.
The light in St Ives is pretty good. The light in my back garden's even better because I've got my rabbits out there. You know.
Yeah, you've got a real love of rabbits, haven't you? I noticed those rabbit feeds.
Yeah, I've liked rabbits longer than I've liked the Rolling Stones. You know.
What noises do rabbits make?
I had a pet rabbit, then I had no.
How many rabbits have you got?
6. And I just got a new one called Binky.
Yeah, I've seen a picture of Binky, yeah.
Fantastic. No, I just like rabbits because someone told me once, Nina Walsh once said, me and her, we did a project called The Rabbettes,
I don't remember it.
where we had Andrew Weatherall's guinea pigs were recorded one morning on a cassette player, and we stuck them over the... They were Nina's guinea pigs too, don't get the wrong idea about Andrew, he'll kill me. But no.
There's too much to say about rabbits then. I mean, I don't know much about rabbits except for they're supposed to fuck a lot. They've got big teeth.
Well, mine would have a job. Because they're all in different hutches. But, no, I mean, it's just, I don't know. They're very calming, you know, so it used to be like a real good sort of calming thing.
What's it like living in St Ives then?
I don't. I live in a little village in the middle of nowhere surrounded by nutters. No, last year was horrible. I'm not going to go into the gory details, but I ended up in Cornwall thanks to a guy that I did a Blondie book last year with a guy called Dick Porter, and he offered to, because of all my exploits in the 90s, like pole dancing in Ibiza and all this, and hanging about with Irving Welsh and falling off the stage while DJing, and it all these things, when you get older, they all come back to haunt you. One thing I found, you're not immortal, like you think you are. You think, yeah, I've broken arm, right, that'll get better. It don't, it comes back in later years. You get this ache and you think, what's that? And it happened here, and I had like a big operation on my foot. And and it kind of put me out of action, but bust up good. But the last 10 years I've been off the radar because I've been writing while supporting a young family, but they weren't my own. I'd taken them on with, someone at the time, and while I was getting better from the operation, she ran off with someone 35 years my junior. I mean, I can't contend with, something like that. So Dick said, come and live down in Cornwall, and I did, and it's a great place, And now, I'm seeing lots of old friends again, like here tonight. I have my lovely friend Helen over there, and life is just getting better by the week. I've always wanted to come back to Leeds, and I didn't want my last memory of Leeds being leaving the infirmary in a
Getting
sleep.
run over.
At least you left.
Yeah.
I wanted to return to Leeds, not exactly on a steed, triumphant and all that, but to see all my old friends and for them to see that I'm not, in a state. I'm doing a book about George Clinton at the moment, another one of my heroes. And I won't start about him, but...
No, please do. George Clinton, man. The mothership.
To me, he's like the... yes.
Somebody else. Who was that? Oh, it was, excellent. Yeah.
George.
Every time he comes, go to see him.
Yeah, every time.
George, he's like... He came from like the slick-suited soul thing, but he always had an edge, and then he discovered LSD and just went completely overboard with Funkadelic. And it's brilliant, and researching this book is the best fun I've had for years.
I bet.
Just spending, you get this money, and instead of paying the band, you buy a mothership. It's brilliant. There's all the band walking out because they can't get their like $200 a week. George, where's the money gone? I bought a mothership.
No snow, no show.
Yeah, which cost him like $250,000, and yeah, it all goes from there, so doing that. And then I'm going to write the book about Primal Scream,
All right,
like it should have been.
Right, okay.
Because before it was a bit more like, if I've been sitting at that bar about to fall off, rattling off stories, but now I'm going to go into the finer points of Primal Scream. And they're still going, and they're a different band now.
Yeah, did you hear the last record?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good record, that.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a lot of respect for them. You wouldn't go out with Primal Scream now and get absolutely like they used to, but then if they had, then members of the band have fallen by the wayside as they've gone on. But they're still going, and they're a festival band now.